Hey there, beloved ones, dear Ascension pioneers. I'm just after my run, and yeah, I currently do not have my own computer, so I'll see what I can do with this video. The reason why I wanted to talk about the subject, about light and dark and light workers versus balance workers, is because lately I've come across this writing from this person, and I was just reading it, but I was reading it beyond words. I was just tuning into the energy of it, and something did just not feel right. Nothing personal, but the way it was written, and it reminded me of so many people who just are not speaking really from their soul embodiment. It's not their soul knowledge. They're speaking of, more from the here and what they've either learned or gathered along the way, and they just want to be teachers for others. But I so admire what beloved companion Dr. Shazay said about being two ways of teachers. Just two ways. And first way is those who teach what they need to learn themselves, and second wave is those who really go through things on their own, who've been up and down and around the hill, and they just share their experiences. And yesterday I was also guided to listen her recording about spiritual leaders versus spiritual predators. Awesome stuff, truly great. And yeah, if you want to see that as well, you can see under future channels that I have on my Ascension Pioneers YouTube channel. So now for what I would like to say about the subject on my own, from my own inner knowing, is I've noticed through this thread of writing, what was written there was through the aspects of light and dark, and I need to further emphasize on this. It was said that the soul is light, and that that this embodying soul is all about anchoring light and shedding the darkness so that there can be more light. But what I felt through my own inner knowing, which is just, it's that, when you have that bullshit detector and we just know that something isn't exactly right. So there's a false understanding here, but among so many who call themselves light workers and all these things, and don't get me wrong, not everyone who mentions the word light worker is on this path. And it's nothing personal. I just feel really guided through spirit to emphasize on this. So there's a lot who have this not deep enough understanding of this light and dark aspects. Because within polarity, which is the natural principle within creation, when you're exploring outer worlds, dimensions, whatever, there will always be polarity, but this is not the same as duality. I've explained this in my video about polarity. And what I've seen here, there's still duality approach to this, because we cannot shed darkness. We cannot say, darkness, bye-bye, you're an old friend I once used to know and now go away. We cannot really anchor light if we are not integrating darkness from within. Darkness is nothing scary. Darkness are just parts of us that need to be further integrated because we're not yet seeing them. So because we're not seeing them and we're not living them, there's experiences externally radiating that out, mirroring that to our own self, reflecting what is needed to be integrated and made whole. Because we are not masters if we have not integrated this. And when many people speak about light and dark, they speak about this in these lower terms. I don't know where this is coming from, because my guidance is not coming from that level, so I don't know. But when I say divine light, when I say the light, I mean divine light. Because what that was written there was something about soul being light, and that's not true. The soul is created through love. The soul is the feminine part of creation. It's the feminine essence. The soul is love. And that's why people who don't embody soul, they don't go through life through love. They don't allow and receive that guidance of soul, which is, letting love guide us, surrendering to love. The light is spirit, and spirit cannot come through you if you're not in the soul, if you're not in the heart. So what we should really be focusing on is the truth of light and darkness. Light and darkness in all of its aspects and all their glory and games and being played out throughout the vastness of creation are all about wholeness, are all about integration. And once again, when you're becoming master of the self, returning to wholeness. There's always polarity in creation, but it's not the same as duality. You will be very much in duality when you'll be separating darkness from light, and you'll be saying, we're integrating light, but we're shedding darkness away. It's not true, people. You can only integrate both. And I notice this in people who have these false spiritual awakenings, and they say, oh my gosh, all is perfect. You know, it is, and divine plan of perfection it is. But your human self won't always mirror and reflect that perfection embodied. You will be sometimes very far away from it with these actions that are lower. You know, look at the world, look at the actions: greed, manipulation, control, you know, also egotism, being very selfish sometimes. There's a lot of this. And your soul is not reflected as love through that if you don't know how to work with integration of both. So how to work with the shadow? I've recently been asked this question by someone who desired a spirit message from me. And I said, okay, I'll further explain this in this video. And what people want is literal physical examples. They don't want to just listen about light and dark and blah, blah, blah. They really want something tangible to know how they work with their soul embodiment. So let me give you an example. In one of my noticing, you know, with the human interactions, I often came across individuals who were all about, you know, this linear. I don't know how this ended up in my hands right now, but individuals who are on that level of awareness where they only wish to talk or communicate or invite into their experience that which feels good, that which reflects the good part of themselves. You know, polarity is all about positive and the negative. So, you know, I've seen that they actually deny their shadow. And when they see it, instead of really embracing it and walking through it and realize and assess their actions and their behaviors, not through judgments, you know, but really needing to neutrally address them, to see why they acted in a certain way, to see why their actions are not yet aligned with their words and their beliefs. And it's not about beliefs, you know, it's about that divine will guidance that we're all walking through in the journey of ascension. Otherwise, it isn't no journey of ascension. Otherwise, it's just journey, you know, blindfolded still, you know. And I've seen this, how they don't want to deal with their shadow. They say, I see it, but it's all perfect, so I'm not going to step into it. But you really need to step into the shadow. You don't clear it off. You don't just like, you know, brush it off your shoulder and say, oh, I'm integrating light, but I'm shedding the darkness. No, what we're shedding, when I always talk about this myself, is we're shedding what is old. We're saying goodbye to these experiences. But we cannot shed it before we really integrate it in ourselves. You know, I'll give you my own example. When I had these patterns that I've received through my genetic line, through my bloodline, and especially after my dad's lineage, which was a lot about this anger and really being stressed out sometimes and just yelling, that pressure, which was what he was like. And I inherited a part of this, and I needed to transmute it, but I wasn't able to transmute it if I wouldn't be aware of this shadow aspect. And if every time that I maybe have yelled at someone, I've seen this and I've said, this is negative aspect of me. I see it neutrally, but it's still a negative aspect, and it's not divine, because divine just works through it, through love. It's divine, the experience is divine. But the aspect itself needs to be integrated and seen for what it is. And if I would keep saying, oh, but it's all perfect, oh, it's okay, and I wouldn't get anything from it. I wouldn't learn from it. I wouldn't grow, I wouldn't expand, and now I don't do it anymore. Because I've known how to work with it. And if I would just continue to say every time when it happens, it's okay, it's all perfect, it's okay, I would keep seeing through the veil of illusion and not really working for it, through it. And I see people with these false awakenings, and they are saying, oh, it's all perfect, it's all love. Anyway, yes, in creation everything is love, but your experience won't always be within love, because you're not allowing love to flow through you, and you're not allowing yourself to be connected through truth. And truth won't always be just that light aspect. Truth will also be mirroring to you that dark aspect, that shadow. Just nothing scary. And people who are not yet strong and empowered enough, they don't want to deal with it, but it's not helping them on their journey. You see, it's not about judging each other, you know, or me saying, oh, these people are, you know, worth less. No, but they also need to give themselves this gift of seeing both. And when I see articles written like this, and when I see people keep telling others what it is about, and that's not truth, I keep seeing this not deeper understanding of this. And without depth there, like I say, there is no ascension, there is no true path, because the true path of a seeker is actually the path of a knower, because you see, you know things by embracing everything as it is, not in this fake illusion of perfection, but by knowing that the experience itself is perfect, but that aspect of you which is still not within your divine self is not perfect, because it's not your highest potential. And then you only have choice whether to still choose it or not. And when I see people who become aware of this, who are just starting to maybe get glimpses of what was holding them back and that negative aspect, but then they stop and they don't know that humbleness means to be teachable. To humble is not to say, oh, it's all perfect and now accept it, but also allowing yourself to be flexible and teachable, and that everything from the external will bring you a message, whether you choose to deny it or not. And you can escape all you want from your negative traits, but they're still there. They will keep persisting, because what you resist, it persists. So you can't shed off darkness. You have to integrate within you. You know, you have these stories of Jesus and Buddha both meditating like in a cave, and they seen that darkness reflected back, and they've been integrating them. They've learned that they're not separate from it, but they've embraced it. You know, something similar in the movie Matrix, when the Neo, at the end, he realizes he's not separate from all those agents, and everything dissolves. You cannot have that dissolving happening by shedding off, by cutting the cords, by saying it's all perfect and live in that bubble of illusion, because illusion will never bring you to that core aspect of truth anyway. So there's only two types of teachers, and also there's only two types of people. Those who don't limit their growth by saying, it's all perfect and I stop here and I'm in my comfort zone. And there's those who will never, ever, ever push the pause button and will always know that they keep expanding, and there is no final answer, and there is no final clarity, and there is no, oh, it's all perfect. No, there's constant seeing, there's constant integration, there's constant flow. And when you are in that mountaintop, you will know it, because your experiences in the external world will no longer bring that up to the surface for you, as long as something is still being brought to you. Either if a friend or a companion or whoever in your journey is still saying to you things, the attributes that maybe you don't like to hear about yourself, but still somehow spirit is bringing them to you for you to integrate them. Because the further away you will keep running, the further away you will be from your true ascension path. So all is a choice, and remember, the aspects of light and dark are not understood by so many yet. So that is why, instead of a term, I'm being a light worker, which means I only focus on the aspect of light. I don't like and I don't use. There's many who use it, and there's many who use it without any false agendas here. There's also many who are saying they're light workers, but in the opposite, in the polarity aspect, they're basically dark workers. So be discerning, be careful. Notice the truth when it comes to you. Notice it through the entire vibration. For example, when you're reading something, when you're listening to someone speak, how's their voice? Is it a soft vibration? Is it soothing you? Is it calming you down? Is it showing you truth? Is it showing you completion, not just one side? Because when we focus on only one side, we become blinded just as much. You know, just as much as you're staying in the darkness, if you're only looking at the light, you can be blinded as well. Neutrality is the key of our self-mastery. And if someone is reflecting, or this article or video, whatever it is, the information, it's about the messenger. The message is never about the messenger. Just feel what it's reflecting. Feel how it feels in your soul, because lately through all this, my own integration of both, I'm noticing everything as it is, neutrally. Because you see, if I wouldn't integrate that darkness within me as well, and I've been going through all, since my awakening, through all the new age and the bullshits and the manipulations, I've been assimilating them in order to see them when they're reflected externally. Because I wouldn't be able to recognize it as it is through neutrality if I wouldn't step into it, if it wouldn't be also a part of the experience. I could just turn around, but it wouldn't really teach me anything. It wouldn't become a part of me in my all that is, in my source space of neutrality. So know that the road of ascension is not what so many say it is. It's not that focus on light and looking at one direction. It's embracing the wholeness of all that is. And then the divine light, which is divine light, not the dark and light aspects that have been playing out since eons and eons, especially on this planet and throughout the entire cosmos. But you will really be in the center of it all, in that neutral space of yourself, real self, your divine self. And remember, soul is love. Soul is neither dark nor light. Soul is love. That is what we're now integrating and embodying. So this is what I wanted to talk about. I am not a light worker. For all those of you sometimes calling me that, I am not a light worker. I am a divine being that is within the realms of truth, and that is what I wish to share. And truth is all, neither light or dark, and truth is love. Stay connected. I love y'all, and I'll talk to you soon. Much love. Bye.